welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Jessie, and I post new budget-related videos every single week here on my channel. I am also in the midst of Vlogmas 2020, so new videos are going up on my channel every single day, sometimes twice a day. There's a lot of great content here. If you like budgeting and lifestyle stuff, you'll definitely want to stick around. So take a second, pause this video, head on down and click the subscribe button. Also, if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. That really helps out my channel. Today we're going to talk all about my cash envelopes and my sinking funds. We're going to get these babies stuffed. I have already sat down and done my cash envelope breakdown here. This is the second budget in the month of December. I wrote out the entire budget in a previous video, so I will link that in a card above. Make sure you check that out so you can see what my thought process was when I created this budget. But now we're going to stuff the envelopes so that we can execute said budget this week. So I'm going to zoom you guys in a tiny little bit. I'm going to show you my cash envelope breakdown. Then we're going to pull out the cash. I've already been to the bank, and we're going to stuff the cash envelopes. So I'm not going to zoom in too much, but if you're anything like me, you've got terrible vision, so you need a little help. As you can see, I wrote down all of the cash categories. I needed to pull cash out of the bank for all of these things. These are my cash envelopes, so the money that I'm going to put into envelopes to spend throughout the week, but it's also my sinking funds where I'm going to put the cash aside for future use. That's the difference between cash envelopes and sinking funds. Cash you spend right away goes into cash envelopes. Cash that you save goes into sinking funds. Of course, you don't have to do your sinking funds in cash. That's just what I do. So these are all of the categories. I broke down the amounts and the denominations I wanted to pull out of the bank. So for example, my husband's spending is $40. He wanted two 20s, so I pulled out two 20s for him. I've actually already given him that cash, so you will not see that go into an envelope today, but all of the rest of these categories I have pulled out cash for. And let's go ahead and pull that cash in right now and count it up. Make sure I have what I'm supposed to have, and then we can start filling up our envelopes. So I've got my stack of cash here. I pulled out a total of $400, but I've already given my husband $40, so we should have $360 here. I always like to count up my cash and make sure that it's exactly as anticipated so that I'm not, 3/4 of the way through filling up my envelopes and I discover that I'm short, because that's the last thing that I want to happen. So let's go ahead and count this cash up. We have 50, 100, 50, 70, 90, 210, 230, 250, 270, 290, 310, 330, 350, 355, 360. So that's just as anticipated, excuse me. And now I'm going to go ahead and zoom right back out just a bit, lay this cash out, and I'm going to pull in my envelopes. So I'll be right back. Alright, so as you can see here, I have laid out my cash. It's mostly 20s, a couple of 50s, a couple of 5s. I have my budget by paycheck workbook in front of me where I'm going to check things off as I go. Since I've already given my husband his cash, I'll go ahead and check that off. I like to check everything off just so that I can stay organized and I don't skip any envelopes or fill an envelope twice. Speaking of envelopes, I have my Conscious wallet here, which is the wallet that I use. It has the ring system, so you can put in your cash envelopes. This wallet actually comes with cash envelopes, but not these envelopes. The envelopes that come with the wallet when you buy it are plastic envelopes. They load from the top. They work just fine. They're totally functional. I just wanted something a little bit prettier and something that loaded from the side, because that is my preference. But the ones that come with the wallet are definitely completely functional. So if you want like an all-in-one system that has everything you need to get started with a cash envelope system, I highly recommend the Conscious Wallet. I have it linked down below, as well as everything else that I use in this video, the Budget by Paycheck workbook, printable, the pens that I use, which are the Parkoo Eraseable pens, everything. So it's real easy. If you see something that you like in this video, you can just scroll down to the description box, click the link and buy it. No affiliate links down there. I don't make any money off of any of these things. The only kind of kickback that I get is if you click my link for the Walmart grocery pickup, and you sign up for that, you can get $10 off your first order of $50 or more, and I in turn get a $10 credit for a future grocery order. And also I have an Erin Condren link below, where if you click that and sign up and make a purchase, you can get I think it's $10 off your first order of $50 or more for that as well. And I also get a little bit of credit to use towards future Erin Condren purchases. But I don't make any like physical money off of any of my links. I'm not affiliated with Amazon. There's a lot of Amazon links down below, but they're just like a typical link that you would share with anyone. So just thought I would let you guys know that. I get a lot of questions about whether or not I'm making any money or if they're affiliate links. Nope, I'm not affiliated with Amazon. I don't know how to do that, but I still want you guys to be able to get your hands on all this great stuff, so I always link everything down below. Enough rambling, let's go ahead and get started with my cash envelopes. These envelopes, by the way, are from Life in Envelopes on Etsy, who I absolutely love, and they're so pretty. So the first category that we are going to stuff is my personal spending, which if we look on my little list here, I get $40, and that's going to be two 20s. So I'm just gonna take two 20s from my stack here, slip it right in here. This spending money is for absolutely anything that I personally want to spend money on. So if I want to take myself out for a cup of coffee, that could come out of spending. Or if I want to buy a book or a new lipstick or whatever it is that's just personal for me, that's what my spending money is for. Sort of like an allowance. I don't call it an allowance because it makes me feel like, a kid or a teenager or whatever, but that's essentially what it is. That is the money that I allow myself to spend throughout the week. Next up, I have gasoline. So I'm just going to check this off so I know I added it. Gas is also going to get $40. Also two 20s. That's what works out for me. Typically don't use all of this $40. It doesn't take quite that much to fill up my gas tank right now. I have a Subaru Forester, and gas prices in Michigan are relatively low right now. They're not the lowest they've been in recent months, but they're definitely not the highest either. I think the last time that I filled up, I paid like $2 a gallon or $2.05 a gallon, something like that. It was as low as like $1.45 there for a while, which was wonderful, but they've slowly started to creep back up a little bit. Anyways, $40 will definitely fill up my gas tank once. It'll also allow me to get a car wash if I so choose, so that is what I have budgeted for the week. So that's going to go right into my gas fund. There we go. Next up, I have eating out. My family and I are in the process of paying down debt, but we are not, as Dave Ramsey would say, gazelle intense. We still want to enjoy our lives. We don't want to be miserable for the next year or two while we pay off our debt, even though that would make our debt payoff process go quicker. I find that that is just a recipe for disaster. If I deprive myself of everything and just go like full force into paying off debt, I'm going to be miserable, and I'm going to end up blowing a bunch of money in sort of like a revolt. So we still budget for doing fun things, eating out, enjoying life. while also paying down debt. So $40 for eating out. Also in 20s, this will get my family a pizza or like a drive-through meal. It's not going to pay for a fancy meal out to like a high-class restaurant or anything, but all the high-class restaurants are closed right now anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal. We just like to be able to have a pizza night or something once a week. It keeps me from having to cook every single night, gives me a little bit of a break, and you know, gives us something to do together as a family since we can't really go anywhere or do anything. So that's that. Next up, I have my miscellaneous category, which covers anything else in my budget that I didn't budget for, essentially. Inevitably, something comes up every week that I need to use my miscellaneous envelope for, whether it be that I neglected to budget for something, or something just comes up that I didn't anticipate, or, you know, if I have a little bit of overage in another category, this miscellaneous fund will cover it. Essentially, it's just a little bit of a buffer between me, my budget, and, you know, all of those little inevitabilities that come up. So we're gonna add $40 to this as well. I like to keep all of my numbers nice and even round numbers. Makes it super easy to remember. $40 all the way down the line for my cash envelopes. It works out for me. The other envelopes that I have in my wallet here that I'm not going to be adding money to today are my debt snowball envelope. At the end of the week, when I'm doing my budget results, I take a look back at how much money I spent in all of these cash categories, and if I have anything left over, for example, maybe I only spent $30 of my $40 in my personal spending money, I will then take that leftover money, put it into my debt snowball envelope, and then about once a month I empty this debt snowball envelope out, and this gets put towards an extra debt payment. So that works out really, really well for me. I also have a deposit envelope, so similarly, if I want to spend from one of these cash categories, but I can't use cash or don't want to use cash or whatever it may be, I'll take the cash out of the envelope, stick it in my deposit envelope to get deposited into the bank, and that purchase will just go on a debit or credit card. That works out really well. So, you know, if I have my gas money and I don't want to run into the gas station to pay so that I can pump my gas, I'll just swipe my credit card, and then I'll take the cash from the gas envelope and put it in my deposit envelope. I do have a buffer in my checking account for just that occasion, or I will use a credit card. I really like using credit cards to get the rewards back, and then I just immediately pay the card. We do have some cards that carry balances, and of course we are trying really hard to pay those off, but we also have cards that we use and pay off every single month. And we, at the end of the year, always take our rewards that we've built up throughout the year and add those to our Christmas sinking fund and get a little bit of extra Christmas shopping out of it. So that works out really well. I've been doing that more and more, actually. Just putting the cash in my envelopes, but then not spending the cash, instead using my credit card and then putting the cash back into the bank to cover the payment, which I know sounds silly. It's like an extra step. Why not just not take the cash out in the first place? But it really helps me to see the cash go away. Like if I have $40 in my spending envelope, for example, and I spend 20, then I have to take 20 out and I see I only have 20 left, and that just triggers something in my brain that is better than just swiping the card and not thinking about it and having all the numbers be digital. I don't know if that makes any sense. It might seem really silly to you guys, but it's been working out really well for me. So if you have a hard time with spending, just swiping the card and having it not really register with you, like that emotional response of having to physically hand over cash, try this. It works out really well. Like I said, I know to some of you this is going to seem crazy, but it works for me. I'm not one to question something if it works, even if it's silly, even if it takes an extra step to go to the bank an extra time or whatever. It's been working. So I'm not going to rock the boat. I'm going to keep it up. So that is it for my cash envelopes. I filled them all, and now I'm going to add the money to my sinking funds. So I keep my sinking funds in an accordion folder in my safe here at home. With the sinking funds in cash, it's the exact same thing as with the cash envelopes. It's tangible, I can count it. It hurts to have to give it up, so it keeps me from overspending in these areas. If you're not familiar with sinking funds, essentially sinking funds are what has really made this whole budgeting and paying off debt thing work for me. In the past, whenever I have come up on an occasion where I needed money for something, but it wasn't one of my regular expenses, I've often come up short and had to swipe a credit card. An example of that is Christmas. Christmas comes around every year. I know it comes around every year, and yet for years I didn't plan ahead for it. I wasn't saving money towards that goal, so then when Christmas rolled around, I would put my purchases on a credit card because I didn't have the money in my budget to cover those purchases. Now, with sinking funds, I set aside small amounts of money every month or every week or however often, works for my budget, and I barely even miss it. Like for Christmas, I was saving, I think, $25 a week, which is not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. But it was adding up, it would build up and build up and build up, and then by the time Christmas rolled around, I had $1,000 that I was able to buy all of my Christmas gifts with, and I didn't have to swipe a credit card. And that's what sinking funds does for you. It allows you to save up little bits of money here and there, and it just slowly accumulates, and then you have it when you need it. So the sinking funds I am saving for, I have about 20 sinking funds, or just under 20 sinking funds total. I don't choose to add money to every single fund every single week. We get paid every week, so we could do that. We could put a few dollars into every single one of our funds, and they would still build up that way, but it's just a little bit overwhelming for me to do it that way. So instead, I concentrate on around 5 sinking funds at a time. I choose the 5 sinking funds that are really important to add money to at the time, either because the thing that I'm going to need the money for is coming up soon, or because it's a large amount of money that I need to save over a longer period of time, and so I have to add money to it every week. Regardless of the situation, I choose, 5 or less. Sometimes it's just 1 or 2. It depends on how much money my husband has made that week, what our goals are, that sort of thing. But I just choose a few of my funds to concentrate on every week, and it works out really well for me. That was a very long-winded explanation. Probably wasn't necessary for me to go on that long, but just wanted to explain my reasoning. So we're concentrating on 5 sinking funds this week, and we're going to start out with my anniversary. So I keep my sinking funds in this accordion folder. Each of my funds has a tab, and behind that tab I keep the fund, so the stack of cash, and then I also keep a index card where I can keep track of how much money gets added to the fund or taken away from the fund, and that way I always know exactly what's in there. So my anniversary fund right now is empty. My anniversary is in March, so I want to start adding money to this here and there so that when March rolls around we can celebrate. I don't know in what capacity we will celebrate, but we'll have a little bit of money. We'll at least be able to get a nice dinner or something. So we are going to add, what did I say the paycheck date was? December 8th. Okay. Can't even keep the days straight anymore, you guys. December's flying by already. So On December 8th, we're going to add $25. And since this fund is currently empty, that will make it a total of $25. So $25 is not a lot of money, but it's a start. And if I add $25 every single week between now and March, I'll have, you know, a few $100s that I can, you know, celebrate my anniversary with. So this $25 then will go right back behind the anniversary tab in my accordion folder, and then I can check this off. Next, I have birthdays. All of the loves of my life have birthdays in January, my husband and my 2 sons. So I want to save up a little bit of money between now and then so that we can celebrate. Again, I don't know in what capacity we'll be able to celebrate, but certainly we'll get a cake or have, you know, presents or whatever it is. We actually don't do huge birthday celebrations even when we're not in the middle of a pandemic. We don't have big parties or anything because my guys all have birthdays pretty much directly after Christmas. And when we had parties for them when they were younger, nobody ever would show up because everybody was, you know, too busy kind of recovering from the holidays and the weather's bad and all of that. So we typically just do an at-home celebration anyway, so things won't be too different this year. But my oldest son is turning 18, so I want to do something a little extra special for him. So anyways, I'm going to pull out my birthdays fund, which is out of alphabetical order. I started out with all of my funds in alphabetical order, but then I added new funds, so those are all at the back and everything's kind of discombobulated. I need to go and relabel all of my tabs there, but that's okay for now. We're going to add $50 more to this. It has 50 right now, so we'll have a total of $100. And this is pretty easy, 50, 100. I always like to count my funds, make sure I have what I think I'm supposed to have, but it's really easy when it's just 2 50s. And that'll go back behind birthdays. Check. Next up, I have campground. Once a year, we pay a campground fee. We have a camper. It stays on the site all the time. It's winter storage in the winter. It's, you know, camping and amenities during the summertime. It's phenomenal. We pay around $1,400 a year for that service. And so I obviously need to save up that money throughout the year so that I have it when it comes due. I just recently paid our campground electric bill, so this fund has dwindled a little bit, but I'm going to be consistently adding to this almost every week from now until October so that we have enough money for this fund, or for this bill when it comes due. So we're going to add $50 more today. The fund has $120 in it right now, so that's going to bring it up to $170. So we will add 50, and then I'm going to arrange this a little bit because all of my bills are mixed together, and then we're going to count it up and make sure that I do in fact have that 150, or 170 rather. All right. So we have 50, 70, 90, 110, 130, 150, 160, 165, 66, 67, 68, 69, 170. Perfect. And then this can go right back behind the campground tab. Next, I have car maintenance. Car maintenance is an example of a sinking fund that I'm just going to be adding to forever, essentially. It's not something that has like a goal amount or even a goal date. So for example, my campground, I know I want to save $1,400. So I just add money to the fund until I reach $1,400. With car maintenance, you never know when you're going to have car repairs. Obviously, you have to do oil changes and the like. So it's one of these things where I can't just say, okay, I want to save up $500 because I don't know necessarily what it's going to cost to repair or maintain my vehicle. So I just add $25 to this pretty much every week. Sometimes I'll skip a week here and there if I have other priorities that are more pressing, but for the most part I add to this every week. It's $25. It builds up, and then that way whenever I have a repair that I need to make or my car tags need renewed, I have the money there. So this is more of an open-ended sinking fund. So I go back behind the car maintenance tab here. This fund currently has $412 in it, and we are going to add 25 more today. So that's what, 437? Not 47. I really like erasable pens because I'm constantly making mistakes. I think that's 437. My mental math game is not the greatest, but we're going to count it and make sure, so I'll catch any mistakes that way. So we're going to add our $25. And then we'll count it up. 1, 200, 50, 300, 20, 40, 60, 80, 400, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. All right, that's accurate. So now I'll have the money that I need when it comes time to renew our car tags in January. That's when my husband's birthday is. You have to renew the tags every year on your birthday. At least that's how it is in Michigan. I don't know if that's the way it is all over the US, but so this will come in handy for that, as well as, like I said, any repairs or maintenance. I know we're going to be due for an oil change soon, so it's nice to have that money set aside for that, so we don't have to scramble when those things come up. Lastly, for this week is home maintenance. So I'll just go again behind the home maintenance tab here. And my home maintenance fund currently has $150 in it. Much like our car maintenance, this is another fund that we don't have an end goal. We're just going to add money to it. That way we have it when we have home repairs or things that we need to do to maintain our home. Also, any kind of home improvement projects come out of this fund. So this is another one that we just add to pretty consistently. So we're going to add $50 for a total of $200, and that's my last 50. We'll add this in. 150, 200. Perfect. Alright you guys, so that is it for my cash envelope stuffing for the second week in the month of December. This month is flying by. Pretty soon we will be thinking about January 2021 and a new year. So if you guys want to hang out with me in 2021, lots more budget videos coming in the new year. Of course, we still have a few weeks in December to get through first, and we'll be doing budget videos for those weeks as well. So make sure you subscribe. You're not going to want to miss those. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!